Donald Trump's unexpected return to the White House has sent shockwaves across the political spectrum. But there's one battleground that's especially buzzing woke culture. Will his re-election mark the beginning of its decline, or could it inadvertently fuel its growth? Since his first term, Donald Trump has been a vocal critic of what he calls woke ideology. From mocking cancel culture to opposing diversity training programs in federal agencies, he's positioned himself as a champion of the so-called silent majority who feel alienated by progressive activism. His re-election campaign doubled down on these themes, painting woke culture as an existential threat to American values. Rally cries of anti-woke resonated with many voters, solidifying his role as a cultural counterweight to progressive ideologies. Now that he's back in power, expect policy measures aimed squarely at curbing what his administration may view as excessive political correctness. A significant portion of woke culture thrives in media and academia, two spheres that Trump and his supporters have often criticized. We're likely to see new executive orders targeting perceived bias in these sectors. For example, Trump's earlier attempts to ban critical race theory in schools could be revisited and expanded. His administration might also push for curriculum changes emphasizing patriotic education. In media, expect heightened scrutiny of platforms accused of suppressing conservative voices. Social media companies may face legislative pressure to scale back content moderation policies that conservatives argue disproportionately target right-leaning viewpoints. Ironically, Trump's re-election could energize woke activism. During his first term, we witnessed a surge in movements like #MeToo and Black Lives Matter, both partly fueled by opposition to his rhetoric and policies. Activists may use his second term to galvanize their base, framing it as a fight for justice in the face of authoritarianism. Social media, the lifeblood of woke culture, will likely amplify this backlash. Memes, viral campaigns, and grassroots organizing could escalate in response to Trump's policies. It's worth noting that opposition movements often thrive under perceived oppression, suggesting that woke culture might not fade, but rather adapt and evolve. Over the last decade, brands have leaned heavily into social justice messaging, recognizing its appeal to younger, socially conscious consumers. But Trump's re-election complicates this strategy. Companies may face increased scrutiny and even boycotts from both sides of the political divide. Some brands might distance themselves from overtly woke messaging to avoid alienating conservative audiences. Others could double down, seeing resistance to Trump as a way to strengthen loyalty among progressive customers. The result? A more polarized marketplace where companies are forced to take sides, potentially widening the cultural divide. Trump's impact on woke culture won't be confined to the US globally. His re-election could embolden right-wing populist leaders and movements. Countries experiencing their own cultural debates, like the UK with its free speech wars or France's controversies over secularism, may look to Trump's policies as a blueprint. Conversely, progressive movements abroad might see his presidency as a rallying cry, strengthening international solidarity around social justice causes. In an interconnected world, the ripple effects of Trump's re-election could intensify cultural clashes far beyond American borders. Trump's return to power is a reminder of the deep ideological divides shaping modern society. Woke culture, often dismissed as a passing trend, represents real concerns for many people about equity, inclusion, and justice. On the flip side, its critics argue it's a stifling force that prioritizes identity politics over merit and free expression. His re-election may escalate this culture war, forcing individuals, institutions, and governments to grapple with tough questions. What does free speech mean in the age of social media? How do we balance historical reckoning with present-day unity? And can a polarized society find common ground? Whether you see woke culture as a force for progress or a divisive ideology, one thing is clear: Trump's re-election ensures it will remain a defining issue of our time. His policies and rhetoric are likely to intensify debates around identity, justice, and the role of government in shaping cultural norms. For those who champion woke ideals, the challenge will be to adapt and persevere. For those who oppose it, the opportunity lies in articulating an alternative vision for the future. The next 4 years will be a pivotal chapter in the ongoing story of America's cultural identity. And no matter where you stand, it's a story we'll all be a part of.